small block, big block, half ton, 3/4 ton, and 1 ton. What is the difference between all the front coil springs available for the 73 to 87 GM trucks? So from my research, there's basically 2 springs available. There's this one, which Moog part number would be, I think, 6542. And that's your half ton and your small block spring. And I'm replacing them with what would be known as a big block spring. And that would be a Moog part number, let's see, right here, 6454. And this spring was optional in the half ton and the 3/4 tons if you ordered the truck with a big block, or if you ordered it with the heavy duty suspension option. This spring also came in the 1 tons, just as the standard spring, and I think they had what Rock Auto refers to as Super Duty springs for the heavier 1 tons. I guess for the really long crew cabs or whatever, the dualies, cab and chassis trucks, I don't know. But anyways, there's just the 2 options for these trucks, and so I'm taking out the half tons because they're way too soft in my Blazer. And I want to try to firm up the ride a bit, so I'm putting in these springs. So let's see what kind of difference it makes. Let's see how much higher it sits. The specs claim that this won't sit any higher than this spring. However, I think that means if this spring is placed under a big block. So placed under a small block, maybe it will sit a bit higher. I'm also quite curious as to what the ride will be like. I hope it's not going to be too stiff. I did read where guys that like to lower these trucks will order this spring, and they'll cut a coil or 2 off, and it drops the front end the right amount, and the truck still rides good. So this, I'm not cutting it, so it should ride well enough for me. I definitely need to firm up the ride, so that's why I'm going with these springs. I'm not necessarily looking to lift the front end, even though I think these probably will. But let's swap them out and see what happens. I've already done one side. Now I'm going to do the other side. It's really simple. All you got to do is drop your sway bar. And then take your tire off. I'm going to take this jack stand. It's going to go under the center cross member. I'm going to jack up under here, under the control arm, undo those U-bolts. There's one at the back and one at the front, and then lower it down with the jack, take the spring out, drop the new one in, jack back up, put your bolts back, and you know, roughly get it in the same spot. You're going to need an alignment either way after this. There we go. Perfect. Okay, shock is off. Okay, so I've removed bolts from each side. Time to drop it down. Oh, there we go. And we should be able to just pull that out now. Okay, the only trick to putting these in is where this sits. There's actually an indentation in the bottom of the control arm, so you got to make sure to get the new one in the same spot. Just gonna wipe this out a bit, wipe the dirt and crap out. Okay, so I got that spring in there, and I'm just gonna get the end of that spring placed where it needs to be. It's not quite going where I need it to go. Let's reposition it. I want the jack back a bit, but I want the arm forward. Whoops. That. So I just swung that jack around, and that gave me the ability to kind of pull the whole arm back as it was going up, and it went right in. Also, I highly recommend you put some Loctite on these, because you do not want them coming loose. Okay, we got her all buttoned up. That went together pretty quickly, about 30 minutes. Swap that spring. Let's get the tire back on and let's see how she sits. So it does appear to have firmed up a bit. It's a bit bouncy from side to side because I haven't put the sway bar back on yet. But I need one bushing anyway, so I might as well just get all 4 of them and redo it at another time. So here it is now. It sits just a hair higher in the back, I think. So it might have brought the front end up a little bit. I took some measurements, so I'm just gonna take some more. So it's sitting about 19 inches on the driver's side and about 18 5/8 on the passenger side, maybe a hair more. And that's from center of the hub. And so if we compare that with the measurements I took before, so we're at 19 for the driver's side now, and 18 5/8 for the passenger side. So yeah, there was a bit of difference before, and there's still some difference. So still a ½ inch, but it's closer than it was. And I guess it really didn't lift it, except the only reason it raised it up was probably due to the old springs being worn. So I'm not sure. I guess I'll get the truck out of here, take a good look at it out on some level ground and see how it looks. Because right now, yeah, it looks not bad. I like when the back sits up a little more than the front. Right now it's a little too close to level, I think, for my liking. So here we are, just out at a parking lot. I think it looks pretty good. Just a little higher in the back still. And I mean, the truck rides great now. It was exactly what it needed. It probably should have had these springs put in it years ago. So I can definitely tell the front end's sitting up just a little higher than before. Not too much though. Wow, poor lighting today. I just thought I'd come in out of the wind, but hope that clears up for some people if, you know, you're curious about these two-wheel drive square bodies. You know, how's your half ton going to look if you throw the 3/4 ton or the 1 ton or whatever you want to call them, the big block springs into it. So like I said, there's only 2 springs available for these trucks, the heavy duty spring and the light duty spring. I'm going to call them 1 ton or 3/4 ton or big block. It's all the same thing. So I put them in this truck. It rides great now. I'm still going to put the sway bar back, but I like how it rides. I've gone over some potholes and bumps and stuff, and it doesn't ride too rough at all. It's fine, so I'm happy with it. It firmed it up just enough for my liking. So I guess in conclusion, if you do put these springs into your half ton, it will raise the front end up a little bit, but it's not going to be a lot. Mine only came up, it seemed to be about 3/4, 7/8 on one side and only 1/8 on the other side. And I'm sure over time it's going to settle a little bit. So like I said, it might have raised it because it's a stiffer spring rate, or it might have raised it just because I had old worn out springs in there. Who knows? So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, I'll see you then.